Dusty, we are here to play a video game.
After configuring these controllers, reconfiguring these controllers for the Raspberry Pi. We got it working.
5 hours later, we're allowed to play NHL 94 2022 edition.
This is something that you mentioned to me quite a while ago.
Yeah. So this is NHL 94, arguably the best video game hockey game of all time.
I think so.
Has constantly received support from the NHL 94 community to make ROM hacks, including this one with all the new players like Devon Taves and Chris Tanev, who are real people who exist in the year of our Lord 2022.
So the thing is, though, I still don't know any of these players. I'm sure that there's people out there who are very impressed by this, that we have these graphics with modern hockey players. But for me, this is just straight up NHL 94. I'm always happy to play it.
Yeah. Now, do you have just to prove that it is NHL 94, you have teams like the Seattle Kraken, which did not exist in the year 1994.
Yeah, that's right.
So it's great, and I'm a big fan of this setting here, which is the leave off setting, which we're going to turn on because fuck people.
Well, what does that even do?
I don't know, but I'm just going to leave it off. That's a safe thing to do. I'm going to go with the old standby Dallas. Do you have a preference for your team on this one? Because your old...
I know, Detroit's usually my team.
But they're no good. They're no good now.
Who's good?
Well, Colorado, Tampa Bay, the Toronto Maple Leafs are pretty good. They're
really?
The Vegas Golden Knights are decent, yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna go with Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay,
because they were doing fairly well a little while ago. No,
yeah, they won 2 back-to-back Stanley Cups and were in the finals.
Well, I think that's pretty good then.
So let's hope that I've actually set this up correctly, and I'm Dallas and not Tampa. But this is a rematch of the Stanley Cup Finals 2 years ago. So apropos.
So the only thing that I am noticing...
Tell me.
It is no Ron Barr.
It is no Ron Barr, but it is a Ray Ferraro.
So it is a Ray Ferraro.
That's right.
And there's no voice.
There is no voice.
Like in
this
the
is the Genesis version.
Okay, so the Genesis version, that's right.
Yeah.
So the Sega CD had the... Hi, I'm Ron Barr.
And just to prove to you that these are indeed players... Rope Hintz, Joe Pavelski, Jason Robertson, John Klingberg, Mayor Heiskanen, they are real players, and you could change them if you wanted to, but...
Very nice.
They shall go.
I love how everything just looks the same, though.
Everything looks exactly the same. I mean, Dallas, they've updated the colors, they've updated the design of the logo.
You gotta be joking me.
Some things don't change,
This sure is NHL 94,
Jason Robertson scoring on you.
I do.
Are you surprised that this type of thing exists, or? Oh no!
Oh, I am not. I'm glad that something like this does exist, though. This is total fan service, and this is like a real. This is like one of the things that makes ROMs special, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think we talked about this before. I'm like, why don't they capitalize on something like this, right?
Yes.
Someone would pay $9.99 or like $5.99 for something like this with modern players and the modern stats, but...
could you imagine this with the power of the PlayStation 5? Who knows what we could achieve?
That would be unbelievable.
But you're right. I do think that there's enough of demand for games like NHL 94 and some of the old school Super Nintendo sports games to warrant EA doing it. But they're focused on the FIFA, the huts.
Well, now they're focused on Dead Space, right?
Yes, but I don't think that they're gonna. I think they'll be quickly focused on
sports games once again.
Yeah, just taking the card-based online multiplayer modes, because that's where the sort of moneymaker is. Do you who did I kill? Nikita Khrushchev. Well,
out for the period.
You didn't need him.
Did the men get weaker over the years? I don't remember them getting so beat up quickly.
Yeah, old school hockey.
They don't make them like they used to. These guys.
No. So I really love the ROM hacking scene. I don't, there are plenty of ROM hacking games that are ROM hacks that you can play. We covered a few homebrews as well for the channel.
There's one. What was the one? The night one. What was it?
Oh, Black Jewel Reborn.
Black Jewel Reborn, which we put up, but then there was another one that you could. Silver Valley.
Silver Valley. So that's coming soon to a select gaming channel near you, or potentially up already, depending on how we decide to put these out. But yeah, so a couple homebrews, but we had this, first hack we featured, and it's an improvement patch more than anything. Do you play patch games at all much on your Raspberry Pi or Emulation World, or not really?
I have a Mario game.
Right.
I have a Mario hack that somebody did. That is like a completely original Mario game. That would make an awesome episode in itself, just like the Mario hacks that people have done. But no, not too much. I mean, me, like right now, I've just been straight up like any Japanese translations I can find.
Yes, of course.
I'm just going for. I found another cool one recently. It's a diving game. Swimmer. I can't remember what it's called. I'm gonna hate myself for not remembering this, and I'm gonna hate myself that I'm losing 3-0 right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, I'm all about finding the translations right now.
Because you played a game, what's it called, Doctor something?
Played Dr. Slump.
Yeah,
which was awesome.
And that's an ISO that got fan translation.
Yeah,
right?
But from what I was reading, from a lot of the threads, very, very accurate.
Right.
Like, dude, this game it's hilarious. It's like reading an awesome manga comic.
Right. Well, I do remember, back in the late 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s, late 90s, there was a lot of, it was the only way to get some of like the Super Nintendo Japanese RPGs was through fan translations,
Yeah.
I think one of the Secret of Manas and one of the Tales games, Seiken Detsuden 3 or 2, I forget which one it was now. The only way to play that was sort of on fan translation, and that's one of the wonderful things about this sort of community. For all the problems that the community sometimes does have, translations and coming together on projects like that is not one of those downsides.
Well, I can't believe I missed that. I'm cursed. You can tell right away though when it's a bad translation. I haven't had too many instances where I've been like, this is, it's not making sense or whatever. Like,
right.
Moon Crystal was great. Dr. Slump was great.
Of course, Moon Crystal. Great game, by the way. Really underrated game, I think.
Really, really hard too. I mean, I'm surprised that I even passed it.
Yeah. But, there's a review up. You should definitely have to look at it. It's not typically one of those games that you would stumble across unless you were kind of deep in the scene.
The problem is, I don't even think Nintendo fanboys appreciate Moon Crystal.
Right.
They're just like, whatever.
Yeah.
They don't even realize how awesome that game made, or could have made the NES even more special.
Well, just the graphics alone and the animation.
Well, that's what I mean. It's like it's bragging rights. How often do people who own or whoever owned a Nintendo got to brag like about the graphics, aside from like the one time when Donkey Kong came out, right?
Yes.
Like, other than that, it was always Sega, or like even like, for most things, like, and even more so now, like, no one's really bragging about Switch graphics compared to like the PS5 or the Xbox One.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So yeah, they didn't appreciate that.
Sort of, we did, during the times, there used to be the sort of in situ ROM hacking that came with sort of Game Genie codes, altering bits of information. We're not really the gamers to explain that information, but Displaced Gamers, a great YouTube channel, talks a lot about that. I have at various points used what we just call improvement patches. Games that make hacks that make games a little less of a pain in the neck to beat.
Like Better what though? Like better reloading times, or like just improvement?
Yeah, so like for instance, there's a Ninja Gaiden for the NES improvement patch, and one of the things it does is that it changes where Ryu respawns. So you don't respawn constantly at the beginning of the level if you run out of continues, for example. It just makes some of those games that, hell, I would never have beaten as a child moderately easier. I mean, they still kind of beat you up.
Yeah.
It's still NES hard, but moderately tolerable. But this is it's what the developers didn't do, and the community nowadays gets back and sort of makes things whole.
Something feels like it's missing though.
A goal from you.
Well, yes, of course, that's obvious.
Yeah.
However, something feels like something could have been done though with this, don't you think?
With this here?
Yeah, like for example, how cool would it be if they just did like after game interviews with the players? Like, I don't know, just some little tidbit, even if it's recycled dialogue, just something cool to see, like these modern guys, right? Like the captain of the team or the assistant of the team. But I get it. They're staying really, really true to the original game, but
well, they're also So one of the things that I've wanted to do, and we'll see if I ever get to it, is to talk about the history of sort of these NHL games. And the version of NHL right after this is, and we have a crash.
We have a crash.
We do have a crash.
Well, okay, so we'll restart and we'll come back to, okay, we just restarted. So you're seeing in real time, guys, the sort of downfall of ROMs, I guess. Or why did that happen though? Do you think?
Well, I mean, there's probably bytes of code that were in contradiction, and the thing just decided that the way to resolve that is to just shut the whole thing down.
So whoever made this right now,
thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Also,
you have taken the crown over Street Hockey 95 as the most broken hockey game ever.
Yeah, I mean, we did have an episode of Hat-Trix recently where you described a bad game as a game that just doesn't work.
Yeah, I was talking about the Lord of the Rings Game Boy Advance version.
I hate to interrupt, but we just have another crash.
Wow. Very interesting. Okay, so back to...
Because I was doing teammates.
Okay.
Yeah, so the game crashed, which is something that occasionally happens with ROM hacks. I'm not going to tempt fate and fooling around with more teams, so we're just going to be Buffalo because...
Why not?
Because when a video game crashes, I think Buffalo. Or we might end up with Florida. But...
Am I Florida?
No, we're teammates. So I've decided we're going to be teammates.
Okay, we're co-ops.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna play nice and we're gonna get along, and we'll just kind of. Well, I am curious to see how, I guess, the co-op stuff works in this, eh?
Well, it's gonna work. I mean, the underlying engine is the same. Basically, this is what in the in the old Counter-Strike modding days would be called like a skin pack. Like all it's doing is changing the colors and changing the values and all that. But I think one of the things that, you're talking, I don't know, maybe it got cut out at this point, but one of the things you were talking about is like, well, why doesn't this version, like, great, you did this cool thing, but is there not the possibility also to add more to it, to do more?
Yeah.
And, the version of NHL that followed this, NHL 95, probably the last seriously developed NHL game for the Super Nintendo, because then obviously EA started working on the PlayStation versions.
Yeah.
Had a full season. So even though there, in some respects, this is not the ideal, 95 isn't the ideal version of it. There's more to it. What I've wanted to see for a long time is because we're not constrained by how much it costs to manufacture a cart and so on. I would love to see a ROM hacker take the sort of structural guts of the 95 version and then put in the 94 gameplay. I think that would be cool. I would love a season mode. That would make my NHL 94 life so much better.
Then you're really taking advantage of the technology to kind of like Frankenstein, a 95 looking game and whatever work with that, and bring it into like the 94 kind of gameplay and aesthetic or whatever. Yeah. Whatever works good.
It's an interesting thing where it's like the games that were developed later stopped moving forward after about NHL 96, and so it would be nice to see the game developers, the ROM hackers nowadays, sort of pick up that mantle and do the improvements that EA just didn't do.
So who do you think these ROM hackers are, though? Are they people who are very into computer programming, game programming, or are they hobbyists? Like,
probably all of the above, and in addition to that, probably some quite serious and competitive NHL 94 players. I mean, they do run tournaments. I think there was one in the Long Island Retro Gaming Expo where they play NHL 94. So it is there is a dedicated group of players who do this, and they want to see the game improve. Probably also just people who are doing it for fun now. But I also wouldn't be surprised if they had like a Patreon account and we're doing this as in order to make a few bucks off of it. And I would this is the type of thing that I think should absolutely be rewarded with those types of
if it helped with not crashing.
It helped with not crashing, but we should also say could be the emulator.
Yeah, it could be.
I've played this version a little bit, and
has it been clunky?
There are some bugs, and all you do is kill people. That's your job in this game.
That's how you win. That's how you 2022.
Win. Yeah, there was a bug with long names when you scroll down and you're editing lines. Like Vlad Nemestikov for the Dallas Stars kept on getting cut off.
Okay,
but all told, for probably like one person doing this as a hobbyist project, this is amazing, and it's a real testament to how well this game was designed back in '93.
Yeah,
that it still plays amazingly, and people are still sort of.
Well, and it translates so well onto other controllers as well. And like, I'm playing on a PS4 controller right now.
Yeah, I'm using a Genesis one.
You're using a Genesis one, so it's a little bit more in the world that it's supposed to be in. But I mean, it still works great.
Yeah, it's it holds up. It holds up, and it's there's enough depth to this gameplay.
Nice.
That I think that.
Feels nice to be a winner, or we're tied right now. It feels nice to.
Don't worry.
We know that Brett Hall. That's my game.
That is true. Oh, come on.
Oh,
that was
I tried. I know he was in front of me.
That was all you, sir.
I gotta say though, this does feel like the Sega CD version though. It's pretty quick.
It is pretty quick.
It's pretty quick.
I think I would need to play the two versions back to back in order to get a better sense of it, but I do think that I think it's close. I really do think it's close. I prefer the Sega CD version, because I need to hear my boy Ron Barr.
Well, it's just the best. It plays.
Oh, now I murdered someone.
It plays the best.
Sorry, Jonathan. I'm just gonna shoot the puck at your crotch. It feels better. I can't intuitively tell you. Oh, here it is. Here he is.
I can't do it, man.
It's you'll get the move. You'll get the hang of it. Oh,
jeez, I have not played this in a long ass time though, man.
Probably the last time you played was for
probably
Hat-Trix.
With you. Yeah.
It's Has there been any surprises on our road in video game hockey? Because, I mean, you did play video game hockey, but not quite as much as I do.
No, dude, I literally had NHL PA 93 and then NHL 94 for Super Nintendo. And that was it. I'm trying to remember the extent of my sports games that I had, though. I mean, I had Blades of Steel as well for NES. I had, I think I had NFL Blitz. I had my NBA Street, which I love. That was kind of it, though.
you're more of a basketball sports
I
game.
love basketball, and I love basketball games too. I guess that's the thing. I think certain people, though, have a knack for certain sports games. It speaks to their... I can't believe that, man.
I couldn't believe a lot of things.
It speaks to their gaming personas.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I've mentioned this before. I like fighting games. And I think, like, the quickness of, like, the basketball games really keep me... I don't know. They kind of speak to my gaming habits a little bit. How did I miss that?
I think I may have blocked it. Gotta do more one-timers, man. Oh, no. There it is. I tried your path and didn't move.
Their goalie's... Someone hurt?
No.
Whoa, we're just murdering people left, right, and center here.
All right. Get in an open space.
Nice. Well, you just did it all by yourself. And we got 8 seconds left, and you scored the TSN turning point. I love it.
So Dusty, do you think that this is something that you are crashes aside? Or you feel like you're more likely to play this or to go back to the original?
I mean, if somebody did something with the Sega CD version...
Yeah, I think so.
Like really put in a lot of love and had the VO and maybe just did a pinch of something interesting, like where they kind of just made it their own, or like after game interviews, or like how cool would it be if they had a story mode?
That'd be very
where
good.
They have beef, like next game he's right, like he's gonna get this, and they made like beef, because I know they're doing that with the new NBA 2K. They've been doing storylines,
and the new NHL also does that as well.
That would be awesome if they did like some sort of storyline that kind of catered to like modern stuff, or like modern beefs that are going on in the NHL. That'd be awesome. But I mean, I'd still this would still be it. I mean, if you love the Sega Genesis version, this would be a great version to play, just if you wanted to see these up-to-date hockey players for sure.
I would love to see how long they keep this going, whether it goes to NHL 2023 and update it during the trade deadline.
Yeah,
that would be cool. But you're right. I would love to see a little bit more fundamental changes. But at this point, we're beggars can't be choosers. People putting their free time and doing this. And they've done a great job for what it is.
It looks great. The controls are great. I mean, what more can you ask for? This is basically like this is.
If you like NHL 94 and you want to play it with updated players because you weren't alive in 1994, this is sort of the way to go.
This is kind of like NHL 96, we can say.
That's right.
But not really. But kind of like the continuation.
Yeah, I see how you mean. Well, hopefully, this will be the first ROM hack we do, and next NHL 23 and 24.
Yeah, let's see 25. Let's keep up with this and see, like you said, how far they go, and if there is some cool improvements. But looks good, man.
Until the next time, Dusty.
Until the next time, good Sir Falstaff.